All right, so we're diving deep today, going way back to ancient China.
Ooh, always a good time.
Yeah, you know I love a good myth. And this one is all about a hero, a massive flood, and, well, a lesson that has stuck around for a long time.
A timeless one, it sounds like.
Exactly. And we're getting this story from pasted text. It tells the tale of Gun and, well, let's just say his very ambitious and kind of tragic attempt at taming some serious waters.
Taming the waters. That's a good way to put it. It's not just a story, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely more to it than that.
It's like, it gives you a glimpse into how, I guess, how people back then thought about, like, nature's power and how they dealt with it, when they had these huge forces just kind of wreaking havoc.
I mean, just imagine it for a second. A flood that just won't quit, wiping out everything. Homes, farms, everything.
Scary stuff. And you've got Emperor Yao trying to hold it together, desperately needing anyone, to, like, stop this disaster.
Yeah, like, what do you even do at that point?
Right, you're looking for a miracle.
And that's where our guy Gun steps in, huh? With a pretty impressive family tree, too.
Oh, yeah. Descendant of the Yellow Emperor himself. Talk about legendary roots.
Exactly. He's not just some random guy. But here's the thing that gets me. He doesn't just go on, fist swinging or whatever. He goes for something a little more unexpected.
A little outside the box.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got his eyes set on this thing called Zhuring, like this magical soil. And get this, it belongs to the Heavenly Emperor.
No way he's going to steal from the Heavenly Emperor. That's bold.
Seriously? Talk about a risky move. So anyway, Zhuring, it's not just your average dirt. It's supposed to, like, multiply itself, grow endlessly. And the idea is it can block anything, even these insane floodwaters.
I mean, it makes you wonder, right? Was he, like, purely selfless, or was there a bit of, I don't know, maybe ambition mixed in there? Trying to prove himself, maybe because of who his ancestors were.
It's a really good question. And honestly, the text kind of leaves it open. Like, what were his real motives? We don't know for sure. But one thing's for sure, whatever he was thinking, at first it kind of worked, at least for a while.
Imagine seeing that, right? The water's raging, and suddenly this magical dirt is just holding it back.
Yeah.
I bet people were feeling pretty hopeful.
Oh, absolutely. It must have seemed like a straight-up miracle, just like something out of those Greek myths,
You got it. A hero going up against the gods, defying them, the kind of story. But, and there's always a but, with these myths, there's that tragic twist, right?
Yeah, the shadow hanging over everything.
9 years. 9 years this guy works, nonstop, and he still can't completely contain this flood. Makes you think maybe the Zhuring was just a temporary fix, like putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg.
Treating the symptom, not the problem itself.
Exactly.
And that's where it all goes downhill, Emperor Yao, he sees his people are still suffering. He's not happy. Not at all.
I bet.
So, Gun, he gets banished, sent off to this desolate mountain, Mount Yu.
Ouch. And then, just to make things worse, Zhurong shows up. He's like the Heavenly Emperor's enforcer.
The guy you send when you really want to make a point.
Exactly. And he's there to execute Gun for that whole stealing Zhurong thing.
Yeah.
What a fall from grace, huh? The guy was trying to be a hero.
It's rough, no doubt about it. But don't forget, this story, it's been passed down for ages, So it makes you think, what are we supposed to take away from it?
Good point. What's the message here?
Right. Maybe it's like a warning about, like, thinking we can control nature without actually understanding it. Or maybe about getting a little too cocky, thinking we're invincible.
Hubris, that's the word I was looking for.
Exactly, hubris. That's a good one.
And then there's Gun's son, Yu.
Yeah.
He kind of picks up the torch, becomes this major player in the story. And this is where it gets really interesting. He literally emerges from Gun's body after he dies on that mountain.
Talk about a powerful image, right? Carrying on your father's legacy, literally rising from his.
Well, yeah.
Talk about pressure, right? Taking on what your dad couldn't finish. For sure. And Yu, he seems to get it, He sees where his dad went wrong. And instead of just trying to block the flood, like brute force all over again, he tries something totally different.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What does he do?
He starts studying the water, like really studying it, figures out how it moves, where it goes, and instead of blocking, he starts dredging, making channels to guide the water, like working with it, not against it.
Wow, that is different. It's like Gun's all about that block it mentality, and Yu's like, hey, let's work with what we've got.
Yeah.
Totally different approaches.
Exactly. And you know what? That's where this myth really shines. It's not just about a flood. It's about how we approach problems in general, He shows us that sometimes the answer isn't just to fight back. Sometimes you got to understand the problem, get to the root of it, and then figure out how to work with it.
That's so true. It's easy to just try to block stuff out, right?
Yeah.
In our own lines, too. But taking the time to really understand what's causing a problem, that's when you can actually solve it.
Exactly. And, Gun's story, it's tragic, but it's also about never giving up. She succeeds because he learns from the past, from his father's mistakes. He adapts.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
I love that. And let's not forget, even though he failed, Gun, he sacrificed himself, right? I mean, he put it all on the line for his people.
Exactly. And that idea, that self-sacrifice for righteousness thing you mentioned earlier, that's huge in Chinese culture. It shows you why Gun is still revered. Even though he didn't succeed, he was brave, he was dedicated.
It's kind of a reminder that even when we mess up, even when we fail, there can still be, honor in it. And we can still learn from it. And you're right, these myths, they're not just old stories. They're about us, about the things we all go through, no matter when we lived.
100%.
So as we wrap this up, this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about. Okay, what are those floods in your own life? The things that feel overwhelming. Are you trying to block them out? Or are you willing to dig a little deeper, figure out what's really causing them, and maybe, just maybe, find a way to work with them? Just like you did.
Such a good question to think about. And, maybe if we take the time to listen to these old stories, to the wisdom they hold, maybe we can face those floods, those challenges with a little more understanding and maybe even come out on top.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this little trip back in time to ancient China. And may Gun's story, his legacy, stay with you long after we're done here.
I hope so too. It's a powerful one.